You bought the dream. White picket fence, two-car garage, the whole American fantasy. And now you're drowning in it. Every month, you write that mortgage check and feel a piece of your soul leave with it. You tell yourself it's an investment, but deep down, you know the truth. Your house isn't building wealth. It's bleeding you dry, one payment at a time. The average person spends over 30% of their income on housing costs. But here's what they don't tell you about that number. It's a lie. The real cost is closer to 50% when you add up everything they conveniently forgot to mention. Property taxes that never stop climbing, insurance that doubles every few years, maintenance that hits like a sledgehammer when you least expect it. And if this feels familiar, it's because it was designed to. Let me tell you about Sarah. She makes $70,000 a year. Good job, stable income, everything the financial advisor said she needed. Her mortgage payment is $2,200 a month. Sounds reasonable until you add property taxes, insurance, maintenance, utilities. Suddenly she's bleeding $4,000 a month just to exist in four walls. That's 68% of her take-home pay. But nobody talks about take-home pay when they're selling you the dream. They talk gross income because it makes the numbers look prettier. Sarah works 60 hours a week and lives like she makes minimum wage. Her beautiful 3-bedroom suburban prison has granite countertops she can't afford to put food on. The house didn't make her wealthy. It made her desperate. Every repair bill feels like a punch to the gut. Every property tax increase pushes her closer to the edge. She bought stability and got a financial noose instead. But this is just the beginning of how deep this trap goes. Your house is bleeding money in ways you never see coming. The water heater dies on a Tuesday morning and suddenly you need $3,000 you don't have. The roof starts leaking during the first heavy rain and the contractor wants $8,000. Your central air gives up in July heat and you're looking at $5,000 to breathe again. These aren't luxuries. These are survival expenses disguised as homeownership. Meanwhile, your landlord friends call their property manager and it's handled. You call your bank account and watch it flatline. The real estate agent never mentioned this part. How your emergency fund becomes a house fund. How every vacation gets canceled for a new furnace. How you start praying that nothing breaks because you know you can't afford to fix it. The house owns you now. Every decision runs through its needs first. Can I take this job in another city? No. I have a mortgage. Can I start that business? No. I need steady income for the house payment. The walls that were supposed to protect you became the bars that imprison you. And it gets worse from here. They sold you on appreciation. Your house will go up in value, they said. Build equity, they promised. What they didn't tell you is that appreciation only matters if you can access it without destroying your life. Sure, your house went up $50,000 in value over 5 years, but you spent $60,000 maintaining it. New floors, fresh paint, updated kitchen, landscaping, repairs, insurance claims. The house appreciated. Your bank account depreciated. Even if you sell, the realtor takes 6% off the top. Closing costs eat another 3%. Moving expenses, temporary housing, time off work for showings and inspections. By the time you break free, that $50,000 gain became a $20,000 loss. But here's the real trap. To access your equity, you need to take out more debt. Home equity loans, cash out refinancing, second mortgages. They let you borrow against your house to pay for your life. Now you owe even more on a house that was already bleeding you dry. The appreciation was never yours. It was just bait to keep you trapped in the system. The house gets richer while you get poorer. Let's talk about that mortgage payment. $300,000 house, 30-year loan at 7% interest. Your monthly payment is $2,000. Sounds fair until you realize what you're actually paying. Over 30 years, you'll hand over $720,000 for a $300,000 house. $420,000 in pure interest. That's almost 1.5 houses you're giving to the bank for free. But it gets uglier. For the first 15 years, most of your payment goes straight to interest. You're not building equity. You're feeding the machine. Year 10, you still owe $250,000 on that $300,000 house. A decade of payments, and you own almost nothing. The bank owns your house and your future. Every month, you work just to pay them for the privilege of living in debt. If you lose your job tomorrow, they'll take it all back and sell it to the next dreamer. You paid for years and get nothing. They risked nothing and get everything. This isn't home ownership. It's financial slavery with a deed that means nothing until it's paid off. Your mortgage didn't just trap your money. It trapped your life. That job you hate but can't leave because of the house payment. That promotion you can't take because it requires relocating and you can't sell. That business idea you can't pursue because you need guaranteed income for the mortgage. The house turned you into a corporate prisoner. You stay in toxic workplaces because walking away means losing everything. Your boss knows it. Your company knows it. They can underpay you, overwork you, disrespect you, because they know you're chained to that mortgage payment. Home ownership didn't give you stability. It gave your employer power over you. Every Sunday night, you feel that dread knowing another week of grinding just to feed the house monster. Your dreams got smaller because your payments got bigger. That side business, that career change, that year off to figure things out. All impossible now. The house needs feeding every month, whether you're happy or miserable. You thought you were buying freedom. Instead, you bought a different kind of prison. One with better decorating options, but the same locked doors. Here's the contradiction that breaks people. You're told to invest 10% of your income for retirement, but your house eats 40% of your paycheck before you even start living. You're supposed to have 6 months of expenses saved for emergencies, but every emergency is house-related and costs more than you saved. You're advised to diversify your investments, but 80% of your net worth is locked in one piece of real estate, in one neighborhood, in one city. You work harder than your parents did. You're more educated than they were. You make more money than they dreamed of. But you have less freedom, less savings, less security. They bought houses when they cost 3 times their annual salary. You bought when it costs 8 times yours. They paid 3% interest, you pay 7%. They had pensions, you have anxiety, the system changed but kept selling the same dream. Now you're working twice as hard for half the result. Your house made you poorer than your parents who never went to college. The American dream became the American nightmare, and nobody wants to admit it. Society programmed you to want this trap. Your family asks when you're buying a house like it's a moral obligation. Your friends judge your apartment like it's a character flaw. Dating profiles list homeownership like it's an achievement instead of debt. The wedding, the house, the kids, the minivan, each step designed to lock you deeper into the system. You bought the house to look successful while going broke in private. Your neighbors are all drowning too, but nobody talks about it. Everyone pretends their house is an investment while secretly hoping nothing breaks this month. The dinner parties where people brag about their mortgage rates like it's something to celebrate. The neighborhood where everyone drives luxury cars they can't afford to houses they can't maintain. You joined a community of financial prisoners, all pretending to be free. The house became your status symbol and your shame. You can't admit it's destroying you because that means admitting you were wrong about everything. So you keep paying, keep struggling, keep pretending that bleeding money every month somehow makes you wealthy. The trap isn't just financial, it's psychological. Here's what nobody tells you about that 7% housing rule. It was created in 1969 when houses cost $15,000 and college cost $500 a year. When one income could support a family and companies gave pensions. That world is dead, but we're still following its rules. The real number today isn't 7%. It's not even 20%. It's whatever keeps you barely alive while feeding the machine. But here's your wake-up call. Rich people don't live in expensive houses. They live in appreciating assets. Poor people live in expensive houses and call them investments. The wealthy rent their homes and buy cash-flowing real estate. You bought your home and rent your life to pay for it. The house isn't making you wealthy, it's keeping you desperate enough to accept whatever work pays the mortgage. Stop measuring your worth by your address. Start measuring it by your freedom, your options, your ability to walk away from anything that doesn't serve you. The house can't love you back. It can't hug you when you're scared. It can only take your money and demand more. They don't want you to know this, but now you do. If this video made you question everything you thought you knew about homeownership, you're not alone. Millions of people are trapped in houses they can't afford, living lives they don't want, just to keep up with a system designed to drain them dry. The truth about money isn't pretty, but it's the only thing that can set you free. Subscribe if you're ready to see how deep this rabbit hole goes, because your house isn't the only trap keeping you broke.